VR chat?
Or like not VR chat, but like what is that one that like
Damn cats.
I can't remember the name of it. It's been around for a long time.
Got
Okay.
me. I have no clue.
Yeah,
We
I
should
have
be
no
live
clue.
on my channel, so
Awesome.
welcome everybody.
Let's hope you don't get another automated, we think you're being rude message.
I am viewing. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Jim? Bye, Jim.
Bye, Jim.
Oh, and the cat left.
Ow. So the human left and the
Such
cat
attitude.
just like, no, I'm not having it. Y'all
Yeah,
a bunch
Joe.
of jackasses.
Yeah, she does this thing where she goes in between like her high heel and
Wait, am I underneath? Let's see. Over there. Yes, it
I don't
doesn't
know
work.
how that is, but hey,
It doesn't work when he's in the wrong place. So let's fix that real quick.
let's see. It takes it a moment to pick back up. Oh, there she is.
How big of a, what is that, cat castle? Or 3? That's small. That looks massive to me.
It's small. It's small. It's small.
You have to remember that my contact is size of a kid. Is that a good angle for her? Is that capturing the monitor too much? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that'll work.
Until she moves up to the top. This is a small one compared to the one that she used to have, and then I've got a smaller one in the bedroom so she can stop, doing the zoomies up on me. So, that and like scratching my feet in the middle of the night, she'll just randomly get up and just start kneading the crap out of them. Even with the kitty cats, that fucking hurts. Okay, so a couple of the topics that we wanted to talk about. There are some big social media CEOs going out and saying, hey, once the pandemic's over, our workers can work from home. And she's going to get down and we're going to go down to the box. I am not sure if I can actually get her on camera now. Okay. So that's what she's doing. So she is absolutely going crazy there. So we've got that. We've got a little annoying psychology. There's some fact and some issues with that, and then we've got a few things like copyright claims, shutting down website. We've got the NVIDIA announcement for the year, and she's got to go. She's gonna go do her zoomies, so bye-bye cat cam. Okay, don't mind her, she is being a butt. So yeah, so we've got a few things to talk about tonight. We're also gonna talk about one of our favorite topics, Star Trek.
I'm sorry.
And everyone, Brad is also doing this. He's just not saying anything, and he's the one with the crazy looking image there. And Jim probably feels that we're doing this and is with us in spirit.
No, it's just you were doing the cat camera thing and I didn't want to interrupt.
It's fine. I get distracted easily, which is why I was like really worried about actually playing a video game during one of these. And I'm like, ooh, look, shiny. Ooh, look, this.
Yeah, my ADHD can barely handle operating this with 3 other windows running, so probably a bad idea to throw a game in.
Right. Everyone would be like, where's the podcast? Okay, anyways.
Like, this is the podcast. It's 6 nerds screwing around.
Complete silence for 7 minutes, except, oh, God, you little motherfucker. Ah, hey!
The podcast would be entitled by ADHD, just stream of consciousness with occasionally extremely 3 other windows running, so probably a bad
I think that's a great idea. We should just record ourselves one night, just
Everyone would
doing
be
that,
like,
all
where's
playing,
the podcast?
doing different things, not actually talking, just the random vocalizations that happen when you're...
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure my Alexa has that already. Oh, damn it, I said the word, now she's active. Go away.
I call her my electronic girlfriend because that's about what she's there for, is to be.
I was so tempted to change the keyword to computer because of Star Trek. And then I
Hello,
realized
computer.
I could say that word
She'd
constantly.
be triggering constantly.
Yeah.
That's why I use the E word.
Yeah, that one's a little bit more,
Okay.
echo.
Ah, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I believe the joke goes, when you see one of those things on somebody's living room, you go, Echo, buy 40 cans of dog food.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the first topic that I don't
Echo,
think
stop.
Jim's going to miss. Good job, Tom.
Even though I covered
Oh,
my
he's
mouth,
got-
she heard it. She didn't hear it the first time when I just said it, but the second time she's like, "Oh, your account is not set up to purchase right now through your voice activation." Just what
Well,
people
which is
doing
good.
things, going in and saying that is exactly why I don't allow my.
Yeah, I will fully admit to having done that with my friend. And my goddaughters at the house picked up on it, and suddenly he's like,
Well,
"Why
that's
do I
not
have
what I
all this
wanted to
crap
do."
in my cart?"
Crap.
Great.
I
Welcome back,
accidentally
Jim.
reported. I accidentally reported you, Jim. Sorry about that.
Herp.
He's now.
I,
Good job, Tom.
It was an accident. I was trying to. Uh-oh.
Oh,
We're having
you
a
left.
great night. We're having a great night so far. Everything is working exactly like it's supposed to. And no, I was trying to. That stupid interface in
Welcome back.
Fallout 76 is so stupid. I was trying to join him. I was trying to fast travel to him, and instead, the ticker got stuck on report. So I hit E twice real quick to fast travel, and instead it reported him for something.
so you're the reason why he's got a report on his record.
Yeah, it's my fault. Sorry about that. Oh, good lord, my guy needs food.
All right, first topic before we continue down the ADHD rat hole.
Yes. Okay. So, as you might know by looking through news media, the Twitter CEO has said that employees that are working from home can work from home indefinitely, even after the pandemic ends, which I believe is a step in the right direction. And a lot of other companies, smaller companies, and all around the world are following suit, which I think is actually a good thing because there are so many people that are, you know, not the best at, social situations, having to work a desk job and being social, and a lot of people that are like stay-at-home parents, or now they're stay-at-home parents. Beforehand, it was, drop the kids off at school or daycare and hope you can spend time with them before you decide to pass out. So
Yeah.
this is definitely a good thing to occur out of all of the bad.
I am fully in favor of people being allowed to work from home. My only problem is that traditionally working from home often ends up being an excuse to slack, and it takes a lot more discipline to work at home than it does to work in an office when people are watching.
Well,
Yeah.
that was, yeah, there are a lot of people that end up slacking off in teleworking situations, but I think there was a study done by one of the big universities. I'm not going to try to guess at which one. They actually showed that a majority of teleworking people actually not only do more work, they tend to work longer hours since you don't have the clock in at 8, clock out at 5 kind of mentality. So
Now
people,
that has definitely happened. I will find that at 7 o'clock and I'm still at my desk trying to get that last little bit done on the project.
yeah, and it ends up working to the company's benefit, especially when it comes to salary employees because they tend to work a lot more in general. But this time, they're not dealing with all the office minutia. They don't have to worry
Yeah.
about whether the coffee machine's set. They don't need to worry about talking to coworkers they don't like. They don't need to worry about as much of an email barrage. They're probably going to deal with more considering the current situation. But it was a really interesting study. They said that over 60%, I think was the number that was said. My memory's foggy on that, but I think that was it. We're working more. more work getting done, more work consistency and quality was
Mhm.
much higher. And the thing that really caught them off guard is people weren't working, 8, 9 hours. They had people consistently working for 10 and 12-hour periods.
Yeah, it's way easier to use your break time or the time when you're not busy. When you're at home working a job that's online, because okay, I'm on call. Someone's going to call me. I'll get an alert. People can go and do what they need to do. You need to go put lunch on the table for your kids. Go put lunch on the table for your kids. You need to take a nap. Take a nap. And there's no stipulation. There's no punishment for it.
Well, that does depend on the job. If you're doing something like customer service, answering customer service phone calls, you really do have to be clocking in. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the best example I have for teleworking is GitLab of all companies. They are 100% work at home. They do not have an office. They have a mailing address that I think goes to their law office or accounting firm that they use. Everyone works from home. And they're not a small company. I think they have a few thousand employees working across the planet. So, I mean, your biggest problem at that point is getting everyone into a meeting because, multiple time zone fun.
Oh
But
yeah.
everyone works and it works well. GitLab is a very good product. I use it. I know a lot of companies that use it. Was for a while one of the best competitors to GitHub, and then Microsoft bought them. Was like, hey, you can have free private repos now.
well, didn't? Oh, right. Microsoft they added free repos to GitHub, and I use that. Actually, I use that a lot.
Yeah, no, I like GitHub, but having my own Git server equivalent at home has been glorious.
Is that what GitLab does? Is they provide a home server?
They're a full enterprise system. They're like GitHub, except they offer on-premises and cloud systems. They even, if you go for the enterprise model, they have a hybrid of the two, which
Okay.
I don't know how they managed that, pull that off, but congrats.
Judd,
They
look up.
You just do.
Judd, look up. There we go.
What?
I was just like enjoying the view of the top of your head.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a nice little bald spot for me
I'm
there.
trying to figure. I want to make
And
sure
the product
stream is doing.
one of the
okay.
products my company sells works the same way. They have local on-site servers, but you also what it does is it spools out to the cloud. Every update to the database gets pushed out to the cloud as well. And
But-
then that way, if something happens to the local server, you've got your cloud version already there, just through the magic of mirroring.
Yeah, but
True.
one of the things that's really awesome about like modern tech that makes teleworking so much better is give them a laptop, give them a soft phone, give them a VPN and a headset. You're looking at $1,000. Congratulations, you now have someone that could work from anywhere on the planet where they have a stable internet connection.
Exactly.
And they're fully tied into your phone system.
Yeah.
That right there is something that's like, come on, companies. And then this is the part that bothers me is companies don't like being out of control of the people. I'm like, think about the fiscal benefits. You're not paying for office space. You're not paying for high-end networking just for users. You're not paying for desktops that often tend to be more expensive. You're also not paying for air conditioning, electricity, heating, water, a lot of utilities. You can downsize your offices significantly. The cost savings are massive. And yet, for some reason, companies don't want to deal with it. It's like, well, people tend to work less. Every single study has shown the exact opposite. People work longer, better, and they put more time into the company.
Only time will tell how this will change worldwide.
No,
Because
I really think that we're going to see. I really think we're going to see fallout from this event. I think we're going to see a lot more of the things that we're doing right now carrying into our everyday life afterwards. I think we're going to see more working at home. I think we're going to see more being, more restaurants, being careful.
Yeah, and the thing is that's just something that we'll have to adjust to. One thing that I did notice is when I was a teenager, I was in and out of hospitals a lot, and at one point I had made a post on my Facebook. I know, teenager on Facebook, gotta watch it.
Yeah.
But I had actually wished that at some point that people could actually experience what I was going through, you know, having been immune compromised and everything. And
Oh,
then this
yeah,
happened, and my mom's like, "So your wish came true. Are you happy?"
How's it feel that everybody has to do with that?
Yeah, my response to everyone's like, so what's changed for you is like, screw all. I stay at home anyway. I don't go out to bars. I don't go do any of that stuff anymore. So the only thing that's changed is suddenly I want to go outside instead of leave me alone. I'm going to stay inside. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, that's my thing is I'm a bit of an introvert by nature, but I'm finding that over the years I've come to realize that I don't like being around other people except when I want to be around other people. And then it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and the thing for me, going out means wearing a mask.
Mhm.
After this started, guess what? Going out means wearing a mask. Or
I'll tell you, I was really self-conscious wearing a mask for the first few days. Even before the mask.
oh man, just imagine if you go into a place that has hundreds of people, or even 20, and no one but you is wearing one.
Yeah.
That was my life. That was my childhood.
I cursed at some guy at 7-Eleven the other day, and I don't curse much. And he was in there just going on and on about government, the First Amendment, this and that and the other thing, and I just like, dude, you're here
Oh, yeah.
trying to make us all sick. You just don't have the right. And I told him, if I saw him in there again, I was going to call the cops myself because I knew that the employees wouldn't, because they have to be nice to him as a customer. I don't.
yeah, that's one of those situations where like, am I the asshole?
Right?
No,
In that
yeah,
particular
observe it.
situation, I was, and I didn't mind being.
I was gonna
No,
say,
I fully
sometimes
agree with being the
alcohol
asshole in
is
that
just what you
situation.
need.
Yeah. So, for me, the one thing that's changed is I can't host Dungeons and Dragons in my home because I
That's
can't.
right.
Yeah. So, I'm a very southern hostess of like, okay, we're gonna make food, we're gonna have drinks,
I was gonna say you probably put out the hors d'oeuvres, and you could have a
Yeah.
nice little wet bar going on and everything, and now it's
I always had everyone's favorite drink.
Yeah.
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic. I always had that on hand. My issue came when the last D&D session, right before the pandemic was announced. Like this is a thing. I could not, for the life of me, get 3 men to wash their fucking hands. It's like, okay, oh, well, the first time it's like, oh, well, I don't like bar soap. Okay, so I've got like 4 different pumps in there. I've got, a fabric towel that they can use.
The
I've got
moisturizing cream.
plain paper towels. I set out, a pump with lotion in it because I'm sick of hearing people bitch. And I set out, paper, like fancy bath paper towels. And I'm like, okay, there is no excuse for you not to wash your hands if you go in that bathroom. And
but I
that
like leaving
D&D,
dirty,
yeah.
greasy fingerprints on everything.
that D&D session, no one washed their hands that went in that bathroom.
Oh, gross.
It's not exactly difficult.
It's not. And the thing is, like, I actually had to, like, force someone in the group to use Germex because he literally went like this and sneezed into his hand and then reached for my dice. Like,
No,
I'm
do not
immune
touch my dice.
compromised. If I get the flu, it's like no bueno, okay? It's no good. So it's like, okay, hey, can you please just go and wash your hands? And he's like, it's fine. I just won't touch anything with this hand. No, dude, it's 5 feet that direction.
Have you heard of a thing called cross-contamination?
Dude,
So
I'm
it's like,
vegetarian and I know about that rule.
So it's like, okay, so if I do host another in-house Dungeons and Dragons group, it's gonna have to be with people that understand that if they come in, their stuff's gonna get disinfected, their shoes are gonna get sprayed down, and they're basically going to enter here, and if they can't wash their hands, and I know they didn't wash their hands, I'm just gonna kick them out. That's it. D&D is over. Everyone go home.
This is
She
reminding me
kills their character and tears up the character sheet They don't come back.
Yeah, a giant hole opened over you, and you just got died in a giant pile of fecal matter. Congratulations, you're dead. Moving on. That reminds me of the Far Side post where it had the alarms walking in the bathroom. Didn't wash hands is going off as a guy walks out. And he's just kind of like, Everyone's just looking at him like, you sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, right?
No, the other thing that's making me laugh about how obsessed people are with disinfectants, like, okay, yes, there's plenty of good disinfectants out there, but you're buying up all the bleach when there's disinfectants that are way better that you're leaving on the table. And
Oh
not
no,
buying.
here, it took me a while to get my favorite. My favorite is actually really cheap, and I love it. I do. I love it. It's my favorite. It's Spick and Span. Because once it dries, it's food safe.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
great because my sister has a ton of kids. So it's like anytime I have them over, I can spray that down. It can dry on the surface or I can wipe it up. And I don't have to worry about, oh, is that going to make my sister's kids sick? That's like my biggest thing is, oh, Tom, what did you do?
I'm remembering an episode of The Simpsons where Homer was trying to gain weight so that he could work at home.
Oh.
And they considered being overweight. It was like over 400 pounds. It became a disability, and he would get a home workstation. And he's on the scale, and he's like 392, right? And Bart picks up a can of Play-Doh and goes, "Dad, look, non-toxic." And Homer just like,
Oh.
you're talking about Spick and Span being food safe, and I'm just picturing your niece and your nephew just like over here, just like
Eating
licking the
Play-Doh.
table.
Okay, I can really, really hope that my sister and her kids never see this, but it's gonna go up on YouTube later. I might cut this part out. When I have my sister's kids visiting, I have to hide the toothpaste because they will eat it.
What? You're not joking. They'll eat the toothpaste.
I can't leave
I guess
anything
you have
in the
very tasty
bathroom
toothpaste.
because
That's
you can barely hear who.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm gonna say it's Tom.
Who, what, where, when, why?
Okay, I'll
Jim's
turn up
just
Tom and
typing
Brad
away.
because
You
yeah.
better be a good cat.
Well, I've
Oh,
got
are
my-
you talking to
I've
someone
got
else?
zero
wait,
patience with you right now.
Ah.
Go
Got the-
lay down.
That
lay
was
down.
loud.
Let's see, I can make myself louder. That
I
ain't
am
no
not-
problem. Oh, I don't have the thing over here.
Come here. Come
I'm
here.
sorry.
Don't
just-
make yourselves
Come here.
louder because I was making you louder. Don't blow out my eardrums.
louder.
I'm gonna crank the volume.
Okay, how is their volumes now? Oh, let me
I was gonna say,
Oh,
I have
boy.
a mic
How's
gain
that?
control right on the
For that.
microphone.
Honey, you
Ah, apparently I'm not loud enough.
No,
Hmm.
no, you're don't.
you're all right.
Okay.
No, I'm reading from the Twitch chat room.
Yeah, well, you're reading it after I'm adjusting volume, so please
Oh,
don't
let
adjust
me
yourself.
let me listen again.
No, I'm letting you adjust it. I'm not messing with it.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
blow out your eardrums and I'll get yelled at again. No, thank you.
Okay, how's that, you guys? Well, they're quiet now. You guys are the
Hello?
ones that are quiet.
Cricket.
Okay, so he is definitely quiet.
Am I
Well,
okay?
I think he left. No,
Who?
yeah, I homebrew,
Jared.
so I have tons of, like food safe sanitizers and sterilizers at my house. And I just find it really funny when people are like, "We're gonna buy all the bleach." It's like you're not supposed to use bleach on stuff you're gonna cook with.
Yeah.
Who the fuck
What?
is banging on the door?
I'm still
Yeah,
a bit louder.
You're
Okay,
still
here, let
louder
me
than
turn that.
everybody, isn't it, Brad?
Okay, how about
Well,
that?
Jim left.
How about now? He'll be back. He's been having issues. Okay.
Okay.
How's that?
Someone's banging on my door. Be right back.
FedEx is there.
No.
10 o'clock at
that's-
night? No.
Okay, so anyways, but yeah, no,
Oh, that's not loud at all.
what's not loud at all?
Oh, when I unmuted Discord, it was just like in my ears.
Oh yeah, right. That's where I've got you guys. But yeah, no. New topic, I guess, since people are disappearing. My cat just bit my toe. Ow. Sorry. About jumped out of my seat there. Can you not do that and be like a good girl? You know, I know you don't understand what that means.
That's
And you're just reading
interesting.
my tone.
I know
What's
I
up?
don't have moderators for this function.
You don't have moderator, what?
I
Where?
don't have mod. It normally it says, "Do you want to try mod view?" And suddenly that's not showing up.
You're totally a moderator, though.
But yeah, I am because I see the little sword by my name. But
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
probably part of the issues with the update. Like I said, a lot of sites that are doing updates are like, I'm
Oh,
gonna
there it
say
is. I
it
just got the
half-assing
sword.
just a little bit.
Okay, so it wasn't my door, but apparently someone's knocking on my neighbor's door like it's the SWAT. No, like full on, like loud enough to where I can hear them over my headphones. in
The
this
cop
conversation.
knock. Yeah, the cop knock. Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
So-
That's not the first time this has happened.
So, Bunny, when I log into your Twitch channel, it says it's your 2-month sub anniversary. I just found myself wondering who the other person in that duo would be.
No, that means you've subbed
Welcome
for
back,
2 months.
Jim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
I gotta
you
subscribe for
you've
2 months.
been a sub to Bunny for 2
I
months.
turn on the cat
Ding.
cam and she gets down. I'm gonna turn it off. Yeah, you're being a little bitch tonight. I know.
Wah.
That's okay. I had to give fat cat a bath. Don't know why that was so hard. Okay, so hopefully my audio is good. Hopefully the guy's audio is good and we're balanced. Do not take off with the cat cam. No. Sorry, she will play with it. It's only like this big. Here's its card case. It's super tiny. Super tiny. I've got really small hands, so if that says anything. Here's a Pixel 4 for comparison. My screen's all dirty. Okay, anyways. Back on our topic. Okay, so who wants to go on the rant of NVIDIA not giving us everything we want this year?
Ooh. I'm wondering whether I should rant on that or not, because dear lord, that. If you can hear me grinding my teeth right now.
I'm glad I can't.
Yeah.
Well, my response to that is they never have a graphics card for the consumer announced at their GTC. I think they had it once. That was it, like 4 years ago.
But they did tease it before. Like the last few times they've done it, they have teased the consumer cards. This
Oh
time,
well.
word zero.
I thought
Oh,
I heard
well.
news about the 3080 though. 3080 coming out.
There's lots of leaks about the 3080 or the 3000
The main thing
series.
that they wanted to talk about is their real-time AI. When I did that, I was supposed to do the air quotes on the camera, not out here.
We'll forgive you this one time, but just don't let it happen again.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm not funny. Sorry.
to be
I'll stop trying.
Looks aren't everything, son.
Oh! There's a dude at 7-Eleven I still have not managed to make laugh. One guy,
Aw.
his name is Tyler. And he has got this big, epic beard. He looks like the rock. He looks like the rock guy from The Big Bang Theory.
I don't
But
like that.
he's just way serious. I haven't managed to make him laugh yet. I'm starting to think he's a Vulcan.
Or a robot.
Maybe he just
anyway.
doesn't think you're funny.
That's probably true. Well, you know, Tom, if you were actually funny, people might laugh at you.
Maybe.
Hey,
That's
if the only
not
person
the
that
best
laughs at your
idea.
jokes is you, you're not funny.
So by the way, this is the cat cam. I did
Ow.
a just chatting thing on it.
Oh, cool. Is that a video camera? I see
Kind
some
of.
little LCD in the back.
It is a Campac Extreme Ultra HD 4K. Like it's like a GoPro without the GoPro price.
Oh, it's
Probably
like one of
not.
those.
It's a
like
GoPro
one of the
knockoff.
imitation action cameras, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that thing just played
Oh,
buzzword
you know what?
bingo.
Okay, yeah, I got one of those for my kid a while back, and it lasted for the heck, getting attacked by a. What's that? I don't even know. This thing
Could be
I
bit
got
me
one
and
for
ran off.
Monoprice a few years ago at one of their parking lot sales. It's not 4K though.
I'm just
Yeah,
bummed I can't
I've
get
got
my.
a cable coming in, but we're waiting on that.
I'm just bummed I can't make my fancy Mevo act like a webcam. It's like things just sitting in a bag because 90% of the time I need a webcam, not a live streaming standalone camera.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't have thought that.
No, we sent it back.
Not now. It's been long enough. I don't even have the package.
Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, you guys can keep talking. So yeah, so Nvidia really didn't really
Thank you.
give
Well,
us anything that we usually would like to hear from.
Yeah, the way they phrased the announcement was they sent it out to all the game news media as well. That's what had everyone thinking they're going to announce the new RTX
Right?
3000 series. It's like, get amped up, and they're sending it not just to like tech news, but they're telling it to like Gamer Nexus and places like that. I'm just like, okay, if you're not going to announce anything gamer consumer focused, why are you sending it to gamer news outlets?
They had to send something. I would imagine they're going to come out with a product probably in the beginning of November. You know, because if they announce what they're going to put out this early, AMD is just going to smoke them again come Christmas time, and they don't want that.
Yeah, typically the announcements for video cards are made at either CES or in August. That way, they have a little bit of runway still left before holiday quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still going to have to advertise a little bit, but I mean, I don't know, man. I've heard Snickers that they actually shot their wad on the super cards, and that all they can really do is maybe beef up the memory. They can't really do much else.
Turn up the clock speed a little bit more, and
Well, that
Yeah, they can pump them a little, but they haven't really got anything new. I mean, they're in the same boat that Intel is in. The AMD shocked everybody. I wish I had a time machine. I could go back and buy some stock in that company because everybody thought they were gone, and then all of a sudden they rose like the Jedi, man. Here we are.
Right? Right?
Yeah, I was into them at about $15 a share,
Dang.
and I sold it about $38.
Wow, that's too bad.
I wish I'd kept it for
I
longer,
mean, hey,
but at the time,
you know, you doubled your money. You know.
Oh hell yeah! No, I was even after taxes, I more than doubled my money. That was worth it. I mean, that was a bumper stock, not like my Apple stock that I sold at $15 a share.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That
sell
even
the
hurts
thing.
me, and you know.
Oh, there was a time when I honestly thought Apple was going to go bankrupt. Right before they.
Oh, everybody thought Apple was going to go bankrupt.
My stockbroker in high school talked me into selling out my Apple stock. I had a few thousand shares of Apple, and
1,000 shares of Apple.
2,000.
2,000? 2,000?
It was between 1,500 and 2,000.
Okay.
Don't you wish?
My
How did you
dollar
come up with
cost
2,000
average
shares of
was
Apple?
about $15 a share. I sold it about 20. I actually went back and did the math. If I'd sat on that and I sold that at the day of the iPad announcement, I would have netted probably close to $100,000 on that transaction alone.
So yeah.
So yeah, I want to go back and find my stockbroker, just like squeeze his neck a little, going, "You son of a." If I'd even sold it when the iPod was announced, like a year later, I would have easily made,
So
5
we're gonna
times.
go with the nice saying of shoulda, woulda, coulda, and move
hell
on
yeah.
to a new topic.
I should have kept my Bitcoin back in the day.
Oi. Okay. So next topic. Club Penguin Online has been shut down because of receiving copyright claims from Disney.
I'm just going to ask
So-
the obvious question: what is Club?
And it cuts him off. It cut him off for me.
Yeah, I
Club
have no idea what
Penguin
this
was
Club
an
Penguin thing
online
is.
website service that Disney offered for kids. In fact, the sign up even said your parents' email address. It was
Okay.
an online sort of like social network back in the early days.
Little
For
tiny
kids.
video games for kids, socializing.
Oh,
Kind of like
okay.
if you ever heard of Neopets, kind of that,
Yeah,
but
Neopets. The one my daughter was really into was the one with the bears. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, same deal. You buy the little stuffed animals, and the
oh, the
tie
Care Bear.
ones. You buy the little stuffed animals, and like
Yeah,
they all come with a code,
not the Care Bear.
and you can put
Yeah,
that character in it. And then they shut the thing down, and it's like, you know,
yeah, that was
uh,
Build-A-Bear's attempt at doing
it wasn't
something.
Build-A-Bear. Well, I remember the Build-A-Bear had one too, but the one I'm thinking of, I thought was the tie animals. I could be wrong. But yeah, and then the Squishies did that. You know, they had Squishy Land one, and it was like that one shut down, and even they still kept advertising it in the gumball machines.
Oh
You get
yeah,
your code
yeah.
in the Squishy Land game, but there was no game anymore. What bugged me is we bought her a lot of stuff in there. I bought her quite a few digital only characters, and then they shut down, and it's like, okay, great, you can't
Thanks
play
for the
the game
money.
anymore. Yeah, thank you for the money.
Pretty much. So yeah, no, this isn't the first Club Penguin to be shut down. It's just one of the most recent. And the fact that, you know, Disney's going after other things to basically state their claim.
So
You know.
these places are what they're calling themselves Club Penguin, even though
This is
Disney's
Club Penguin
no longer
Online.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
And so Disney's coming after them for what, like trademark infringement, that kind of stuff.
yeah, is what it looks like. I don't even know how they got the source code for it because a lot of the stuff from what I read was literally word for word, just like it was when Disney ran it.
Well, dude, I
Yeah.
mean, how hard is it to download, you know, a website? I mean, you know, the client side code is open source by default because there's no way to protect it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the client side stuff is just like, I just saw how they
Yeah.
did some of it. Apparently,
Yeah,
someone
so
stole
it's
some databases. Oof, no bueno.
so a lot of what's going on is they were using licensed trademark stuff that was in their original Club Penguin site, and Club Penguin was a huge hit. They grossed over like 8 million users, you know, and all their income and all that crap that they bought in a 2-year time frame before the site went down. Like before they said, okay, hey, Club Penguin's done. So if anyone does try to revive the game, it'll be extremely difficult now. You'll have to worry about Disney. In all honesty, it isn't worth it. The admin of Club Penguin Online published. That's what he wrote to his responses to a lot of what was going on in the backlash.
Something. Why would you want to do that anyways? I mean, it just sounds like it sounds like you're just blatantly trying to ride on Disney's coattails. And, I mean, that's literally why trademark laws exist. That exact thing. So, I got a finger for you.
Right? Okay, so another topic that we had on hand is and hopefully we can get Jim talking with this one. The new Star Trek series that has come out.
I don't think it's going to be very good. The guy they got, the lead guy, he's a terrible actor. Rebecca
Quite
Romijn-
honestly, turn off his damn mic.
Rebecca Romijn is past her prime. I mean,
Daddy's
she's not
home, baby.
anything
Shut up.
anymore. And who thought Ethan Peck would make a good Spock? I mean, really, come on.
Everybody who saw him in the first episode, what the hell are you rambling about? What, you wake up this morning and think you're dumb or what?
So
Well,
if you
I'm
guys
sorry,
are wondering
we're trying
what
to look it
series
up.
we're talking about, it is the one that's going to be on CBS All Access, which is Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds, the Captain Pike years. I
You know
am
what? A
so
decade
I am
without Star Trek, and you got 3
unaccountably
new series.
I am unaccountably excited for this because Captain Pike, Anson Mount made a better Captain Kirk than Chris Pine did by far. You know, you guys
Except he's
remember
not
the
playing Captain
2009.
Kirk, but that's okay.
I know, but my point being that he did a better job as Captain of the Enterprise than Chris Pine when they rebooted the series over in J.J. Abrams' first time. like I said, I'm unaccountably excited. I really want to see where they go with this.
So do I.
And as long as they don't do something really, really dumb and screw it up, I think this is going to be the best of the series so far on All Access.
Damn. It is CBS still. It has people sticking things in it that shouldn't be involved.
Yeah, but at least it's not Fox. Just ask this question:
Fair.
What is the last science fiction series that has lasted for more than 2 years on Fox?
Cricket.
Exactly. The best series that they made, they still managed to destroy somehow. I mean, they ruined Dollhouse with their meddling.
Actually, wait. Last science fiction series that lasts more than 2 years? I can name it. X-Files. It's been a while.
I kind of disagree with you on Dollhouse. They gave that show much more of a chance than they should have. They should have canceled that thing at the end of the first season because that show was awful. I don't care what anybody
loved
says.
that show.
It was.
Yeah, well, you took your stupid pills this morning too.
If you look at the original pilot, I own the DVD set. If you look at the original pilot for Dollhouse, it was a much better film than what was actually produced, what was actually aired, because Joss Whedon had it set up. He set up the entire universe in one episode, and we knew what was going on a lot quicker. But what
you knew what the dolls were, but so what? I mean, how long could you take that as a premise? Oh, look, they can have anybody's memories. Isn't that awesome?
But see,
what
you're
are they
proving
going to
my
be?
point. You're proving my point exactly, because the whole point of Dollhouse wasn't the dolls. It was this conspiracy by Rossum to mind control to literally mind control the world. And we saw in this television series that aired, we didn't see that until nearly the end of the season. In the pilot, in the unaired pilot, that was right there in the beginning of the series.
So it's the Josh Whedon version of
they
La
set
Femme Nikita?
What it is, okay, so the premise of the show was they had this device that would basically erase your brain and program you with a new personality. They were building human robots and they were creating these these synthetic personalities. I'm not going to use the word fake, but synthetic, meaning they were taking bits and pieces of various personalities and memories and plugging them into these people's heads, and then renting them out as prostitutes, basically. They weren't always literally used for sex. They were usually used for some sort of role play. And these people really believed they were the part. They weren't acting. They really believed they were. But so that was let's call that the obvious story. That was the text, right? The subtext is this company has the technology to erase your brain and put whatever they want in your head. Think about this, how scary that is for just a moment. Now, that only works if you're inside of this big giant machine, right, that looks like an MRI scanner. What happens if they make this portable? What happens if they can broadcast this through, say, I don't know, an FM radio? That's the subtext. The problem was Joss Whedon wrote that subtext into the pilot episode. You knew by the end of the pilot, you had an idea of what was going to happen. And then the rest of the season was going to be that plot progressing and that story arc carrying over the top of these little episodic doll stories. It would have been beautiful. But instead, Fox messed it all up, just like they always do. And they made him spread that out over several episodes, and it completely got buried until the end of the first season. The second season, we finally got to see that plot progress, but by then it was too late, and the show was already had terrible ratings.
Well, then I guess you proved your point, because I watched it and
you didn't. Yeah.
I made it through the first season, but I'm just like, this isn't science fiction. This is a cop show. Because it was always, it's like, oh, they get in there, they find the thing that's wrong, and then they right the wrong. Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And what's the name of the dude? The guy that came from Battlestar Galactica. That was his big, his big leading part was the cop and that was investigating the dollhouse.
I'm sure I don't remember because seriously, this show was not memorable. I just remembered it being like, man, this is bad. How did it get a second season? They must be trying to make it up to Josh because of Firefly. Well, no, seriously, because they screwed up Firefly, and what I had heard when it was on was that they were going to let Josh do whatever he wanted to, and that they gave it a second season just because they were hoping he could pull it out, and they didn't want to piss off his fans again. But I tried to watch that show, and I just thought it was awful. It was an interesting idea. It would have made a good movie, or maybe a miniseries, but at least what I saw on television is 2 seasons worth. It was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Firefly was another show that I think would have been better, literally, if they had just changed the name. Because you hear the word Firefly, you don't think cowboys in space. You think,
Well, no, you don't.
yeah, and it's disappointing.
Well,
I
yeah.
almost didn't see Serenity in the theater because I saw the word Serenity on the bill, and I went, watch some stupid chick flick. There's got to be something else good right now. Where's that Joss Whedon movie about Firefly? And then I looked at the synopsis and I went, it was said something of like continuing the story from the television series Firefly. I'm like,
Yeah, quite
Serenity?
honestly.
Oh,
Yeah,
Me-
the name of the ship.
Yeah,
all
me
they
and
all they
the
need
brown
to have
coats,
done.
we were mighty.
I firmly believe that if he had just given that show a different name, that it would have.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of things if they just would. I mean, if they just hadn't cut up the pilot, if they just would have shown them in the order that he shot them, if they just
Yeah.
would have let it be on more than 7 seasons, if it wouldn't have had to fight with the Iraq War and half of it got preempted, it just, I mean, that show was snake bit, just like another one of
Hi,
my
Brute
favorite shows that
Savage.
almost. Hi.
Welcome to the stream.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. It's just like there's another show that I really liked. It didn't get a lot of play because of the Iraq War. It was a show called Miracles. Did you ever see it?
No.
It was
Never heard of it.
exactly. It was an ABC show, and it had I think I'm drawing a blank on his name all of a sudden, but he was the lead in Jericho on CBS.
Oh,
His dad was real big in that, and his brother is a camera operator. And for the life of me, I can't think of his last name, but I loved everything that he's in. And it was about this priest who was having a crisis of faith, and he kept running into these supernatural things he had to investigate. It was kind of like the X-Files with a religious twist. It was really cool, and the Iraq War killed it. And I probably watched that series front to back at least half a dozen times because it was just wonderful. Okay, where is the damn house?
Your homestead's under attack, by the way.
Judd, do you have anything to add?
Well, there is a sci-fi series that still is ongoing, kind of. It has
What's
switched
that?
from Fox to Hulu.
2 seasons once again.
You're right.
If
But
Fox
at
was
least
going to
Hulu's
cancel it would not have lived if Hulu had bought it up.
Well,
Fox
Hulu
was
didn't
going
bought
to
it up.
cancel
Fox
that
is-
show.
Can we mention like what series it is and let Judd talk?
I don't even remember the name of it. It's
The Orville.
Orville, yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's.
I need to
pseudo
finish
Star
watching the
Trek
second
series.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made 2 seasons on Fox, and then Fox decided we're not going to continue the show, and so they Hulu bought the rights, and Seth MacFarlane's now working for NBC.
Well, Hulu didn't buy the rights. Fox decided to just transfer the because Fox is part of Hulu, so they just transferred it over to Hulu.
Is that
I thought it got transferred to ABC or something like that.
No,
NBC? He literally said on Jimmy Fallon's show that he's now working for NBC. He said, "Hey, we're working for the same company now. Now we can go to the same cocktail parties." It's the literal words that MacFarlane
Well,
said.
there was also rumors that he was trying to spearhead NBC purchasing Star Trek.
Yes, that would be so great.
Star
Well,
Trek.
there are actually there's more to that than just rumors. Star Trek it's being shopped, but they want too much money.
Yeah.
CBS is in a lot of trouble because of the stock deal they had to do a couple years ago to keep their thing on the air. They had to agree to keep their stock up at a certain price, and the owners of the company have been spending their own money to prop up the stock price, and they're running out of dough. So they're going to have to sell some stuff. And they actually did have a meeting with NBC, but it only lasted about half as long as it was supposed to because the amount of money they wanted was ridiculous.
Yeah, but that was before the human malware.
I'm sorry, before the what?
The human malware.
Human malware.
Okay, you're gonna need to elaborate on that one because even I'm lost on that.
All
Why
right,
are you?
Kurtzman?
Why are you not allowed to leave the house, Brad?
and don't say what it is.
Oh.
We got human malware. Various YouTubers have called it different things. Human malware, Voldemort, the
That which must not be named.
the beer virus.
I was going to say beer virus. Does that work? Because that seems rather
that
appropriate.
No, not beer flu. One. He was calling it beer flu, and apparently he was starting to get demonetized. So he just said, it's the MAP app.
Ugh. Really? They're getting a little overzealous with that.
Well, they're getting so much of it, they have to can it all. They don't have time to check it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
So you guys are wondering, Judd is actually streaming to YouTube on his channel, which is Randomly Squared.
yeah,
So,
Yes, so please don't tell the audience to go themselves this time.
Be careful.
yeah. I haven't marked it
don't
as
give
18 and
people
older, so we want to try to
Don't give
keep
us
the
ideas.
cursing
Don't
and
give people ideas.
adult themes.
What? It was you
to
that
minimum.
did it.
But yeah, no. And then most
Nice.
recently,
Is he
there's another
basically
theory.
Jim?
There's another
Is this something he's
rumor.
going to tell us?
What are you babbling about?
She was making kissy faces at you.
There is
Not a kissy face.
Oh, that was okay, never mind.
there is another rumor recently about Netflix buying out CBS Viacom completely.
I heard that one as well.
That would be interesting.
And my only response to that would be, okay, let's get DS9 HD remastered and get proper remasters for all the freaking movies for Star Trek. They did that for Wrath of Khan. That was it. Everything else was upscaled, whatever the original
That's because other than Star Trek 6, none of the other ones were worth watching.
40p or 10K or 2K masters they did back in the late 90s for the DVD releases.
Yeah.
Maria, where are you? There you are.
In fact, Star Trek 4 everybody looks like they've got a very heavy layer of mascara on. They're all
Yeah, it really
real
does.
shiny.
I looked at that. I looked at that after I bought the Blu-ray set, and it was just like everything is all smooth. It's almost like watching a cartoon, like a really high-quality cartoon.
So it's like, all right, yeah, we're going to re-release these things over and over again, but it's the same video. Yeah, I'm not going to touch those until you do a proper remaster. But,
Potted plants? Bite
Yeah.
me.
I swore that I wasn't going to buy. Star Wars until they released a despecialized edition cut, and I ended up buying it on iTunes.
I was gonna say, you know, they're never gonna do that, right?
No, I still insist they will because Disney likes money.
I think Disney likes money just fine, but I don't think they're gonna cut their own thing down. That just doesn't seem like something they do.
Well,
They remember they didn't make it. Lucas did. Lucas they no longer have an emotional interest in maintaining Lucas's cut. They'll do whatever makes money, and they will re-release that movie 1,000,000 times with 1,000,000 differences, 1,000,000 changes, just so that they can
Well,
get money
what's
out of
her
their customers
name?
over and over and over again.
Kathleen
Okay,
Kennedy needs to go
from
before
what
that happens.
I read from one of the original editors of the special edition. He also worked on the original Star Trek. Star Wars. Ugh. Switching from one franchise to another, my brain is just going, wait, what?
Yeah, the good show to the bad show. It's got to be awful like that.
They both have their good and their bad.
No, they really don't.
I mean, Star Trek, you've got, OG series, TNG, then you have Voyager, then you have Deep Space Nine, then you have Enterprise. And
Enterprise.
with Star Wars, you've got episodes 4,
Enterprise
5, and
Hey,
6.
don't
Enterprise was
shout
awesome.
over.
Fight me. You can fight me on that one. Enterprise was awesome. You guys just don't know what you missed.
Enterprise was
That was
good.
a great show. You see what's
I
on the hat,
tried
buddy?
to watch
What
it.
does that hat say? What does that hat say?
I honestly like
It
Enterprise
says
every
I
time I
can't
rewatch it.
read Star Wars text.
I honestly
No,
like it better
it's
every
not-
time I rewatch it.
Not Star Wars on my hat. Star Trek is always better than Star Wars. Always, always, always.
Okay, so I
Fight
guess
me.
I should move this on to the next topic.
No, what I was, let me finish my original statement here. So Jim could, before Jim rips
His brain explodes.
What? I'm gonna
the original,
shit about my show.
the editor said there's no reason why we can't do a remaster of the originals. We didn't destroy the originals negatives when we made the special edition. We still have all the stuff we cut apart. It would just be more difficult to remaster because it's not a single reel anymore. So the only reason why at this point is just because, I don't know, they're not that hungry for the money. Because I know every Star Wars fan out there would spend a ton of money to get 4K
right.
copies of the original trilogy.
That's very true. They would. In the original coloring, would say put a nice book together with it and things like that.
I wouldn't even mind them remastering the color or the audio, just so long as they don't do this full special edition treatment.
What they will do,
If they put out,
here's
the
Disney will
old
do. They
crappy
will-
special effects with the little ghost halos around all the ships and all that, the way
Mhm.
it was in the theater originally. If they were to put it out like that and package it with a good book, interviews with the people that did it and things like that, I'd probably do $400.
I want an upgrade to the THX remasters they did in '97. Modern 4K.
I think what they will do is they will take the same print they made for the Laserdisc, where they didn't redo the effects. They just basically did a better print, right? They'll do that first. They'll sell that to us for $100 for the set, and then about 2 years later, they will then go and digitally remaster all of it and recomposite all the special effects, and then they'll charge us for that again. And then they'll go back and they will redo all of the special effects, all of the ships, all of the practical effects as CG, and they'll sell it to us a third time. I can sell you that movie at least 3 times just by progressively upgrading the same exact cut of the film.
So you mean exactly like what Disney has done with their animated movies for the last 30 years.
Exactly. Here is the 4K as seen in the theater movie. Here is the 4K remastered with all new digital enhancements. Here is the 4K version remastered with all new upgrades, completely remastered, all the special effects redone on modern digital technology in 8K on 8K Green Ray or whatever the current media is. It won't
Now
even be Blu-ray
on
at that point. It'll be-
Holocron version.
It'll
I
be,
don't-
the Holocron edition. See? It even names itself. But they're going to wait until the Star Wars frenzy dies down just a little bit because the market's saturated right now.
The Star Wars frenzy. Yeah, there's a
I mean-
frenzy, all right, but it's not exactly what they want.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean,
Yeah.
how many toys? Honestly, how many toys did you see in the? How many Rise of Skywalker toys did you see at Walmart this year? I didn't see.
I don't know. I was too busy staring at Baby Yoda.
Who
Yeah.
wants any of them? Baby Yoda. Well, Baby Yoda is all anybody wants.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Baby
seriously.
Yoda's cute. I mean, hell, I'm not even a toy guy, and I've somewhere in one of my boxes I've got Baby Yoda plushie. Freaking $35 damn dollars for this little 6-inch plushie. I'm not even that big of a fan of Star Wars anymore, and yet I went out and bought that because I absolutely love The Mandalorian.
Sounds
I
about
love
right.
it, and I wanted to buy something that signaled, "Hey, look, this is moving. This is good. Go this way."
Yeah.
Yes, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Comparing the third trilogy of Star Wars to The Mandalorian shows the difference between someone who's in it to make money and someone who's in it for the love of the art.
Yeah.
And I will say it till my grave that Jon Favreau is obviously a fan of the genre and obviously a fan of Star Wars because
Yeah.
what he did is a fan's work. What JJ did was the most cynical garbage I've ever seen.
JJ was in it for the dough.
And it wasn't just Star
He
Wars.
made
He did,
no bones
he did
about
the same dang thing to Star Trek. He ruined the Star Trek theatrical series.
JJ does
I think
whatever
we've talked
everything
about
he always
that too.
does.
It's like,
Yeah.
tell me what JJ Abrams ever did that was any good. Other than Fringe, what did he do that was that great? I don't know why everybody likes him so much.
I mean, his production company does great stuff. It's the directorial that's
Yeah,
questionable.
yeah. Well, yeah, Bad Robot does a lot of good work. I just don't like him as a director. I don't like his writing. I don't like, I just don't like what he's done with the franchise.
I mean, I think he has interesting ideas, and that's taking old movies and updating them for a new age. But that's great if you just want to redo old stories over and over again.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, I think we beat this topic to death.
Yeah. We
I
can.
mean, I would have much rather if they'd actually turned Star Wars over to a couple of science fiction writers and actually got some new stuff going on in there instead of rehashing the same old thing.
Sure.
Of course, they
Oh
probably
no,
would've been a lot
Hollywood
better if
doing
they got-
something new instead of following a tried and
Yeah,
proven
but the thing of it
successful
is
formula?
but that's exactly what they did with The Empire Strikes Back. They went and hired a couple of sci-fi writers to give them a treatment.
And also having a certain wife beat the director over the head, going, "No, you can't do that."
You know,
Yeah.
Oh
it's
no!
just-
If the memoirs are to believe, the original Return of the Empire Strikes Back would have been a lot worse.
yeah,
No,
I'd see
Star Wars.
not great.
Star Wars was the one that was that his wife, that Lucas's wife rescued.
I thought it was Empire Strikes Back.
No, she re-edited Star Wars because he showed it to some other.
Star Wars was
who
going to
was
be
it that
his
he
magnum
showed Star
opus,
Wars to?
and I want to say Spielberg.
It wasn't
Could be wrong.
Spielberg. Was it? I don't think it was Spielberg. I think he. I want to keep saying he showed it to Bruce Springsteen, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. But it was like he showed it to a couple people, and both of them they got at the end, and they were like, both people just went, "What the hell was that?" And his wife went in and re-edited it and basically put Star Wars together. But then they got divorced, I think before Empire, didn't they? The Empire was, vastly superior to Star Wars. I don't care what anybody says.
No, I think it was just after Empire when she divorced him. But the thing was, I think there was a strike or something because they couldn't use normal directors for Empire or Return of the Jedi. They had to use ones that actually weren't part of the Union. In order
What,
to
the
get it to work.
DGA was having trouble with Star Wars?
I think it was like a industry-wide strike of some kind. But that's why they were basically so good because they weren't traditional directors.
Okay.
So they brought in new blood that
Well, it was
Wasn't-
Lawrence. Wasn't it Lawrence Kasdan that did the Empire? 'Cause, I mean, Lawrence Kasdan worked for Kuroko. I mean, they're the ones that did all the Rambo movies.
Yeah, but that was a little bit later.
Huh.
Anyways, next topic.
Okay, so this has made the news once again, and it affects basically the video game community as a whole, and that is the video game inducing violence and video game addiction in times of crisis. This is a very touchy situation or conversation to have in general because there is, some psychology fact in what is addiction, and then there is the media frenzy of panic, video games make your children violent.
Panic sells papers.
Yeah, so this has once again been refired, and it is people questioning, okay, so video games are now selling big because of the pandemic. Video game systems are selling big. The Switch is selling out everywhere, and then the news media goes, so is this going to be, what is the cause of the rise of domestic violence in homes during this time of crisis?
Yes, I beat my wife because of Pokemon, please.
Well, and here's my issue. We really have three types of video games out there. I'm gonna paint some really broad categories. We have games for kids. Pokemon is an example. We have things like Pokemon, the Animal Crossing game, the simulators, Stardew Valley. We have all these games that are clearly non-violent, that are all about building and creating and getting along with other people. I don't think anybody can claim that those are creating violent kids, right? Let's just set those aside. Then we have the games that are, I'm going to call violent for a good cause. Doom was, one of the first games that where you were out there just doing nothing but killing a lot of stuff, but they were the bad guys, and we all knew they were the bad guys. They were demons, literal demons. But then let's look at the Grand Theft Autos of the world. That game exists for one sole reason, and that's to titillate. Its singular objective is to do things that are considered socially unacceptable. That literally is what the whole plot of the game is you doing things that are considered socially unacceptable for fun.
So like Grand Theft Auto.
That's what I
he
just
is
said. Yeah,
saying
that's what I
Grand
just
Theft
said.
That's the example he used.
And and I think GTA is probably the worst offender in that sense. You know, and do kids model their entertainment? Absolutely,
Yes.
they do. They absolutely do. But does that mean that a kid playing GTA doesn't know right from wrong? I don't buy that. I don't believe that, and I don't believe the statistics support that.
You're making a bad assumption in that people think about their responses.
Yeah.
mean,
Another
they're-
thing that like the media doesn't bring up, it's not the video games companies failing in monitoring or, you know, saying, hey, this is for mature audiences or this isn't made for kids. It's basically the parents going, oh, yeah, you want that? Okay, sure. You know, anything to shut their kids up most of the time. And they
Well,
don't
and
even take a look.
And I have been in GameStop when the lady walked in there with her 12-year-old boy, and this happened, you know, she walks in there with her 12-year-old son up to the counter, and she has, my son would like to get a copy of Grand Theft Auto. And the clerk says to her, you realize they have nudity in that game, right? There's actually a strip bar in that game where your son can go hang out and get a lap dance. And she turns to him and goes, is that true? He goes, I don't know. She goes, what else do you have that's not rated R?
Right?
And that was a mom that actually at least cared about that fact. But
Yeah.
my daughter from the day that game came out, she was asking me for the game, and I'm like, I'm not buying it for you. And I've spent the last 5 years saying I'm not buying it for you. All of her friends are playing the dang game. Yet, and I don't know. Do their parents just not care or what? I don't get it.
It's very absentee parenting, and that is like, okay, unless my kid does something wrong, I'm going to trust my kid, and I'm going to be my kid's friend first versus being my kid's parent first.
It's also a lack of knowledge and understanding. Most parents I know that have young kids are gamers. They understand that there is a rating system. They understand that there are parental controls. There are ways to manage this stuff. The Xbox at my friend's house is locked to the kids' channels. They can't play any of the games that the parents have.
Yeah, but
If
the kids
that's
log
the
in,
examples. We're all talking about the examples of parents that are actually actively preventing their kids from getting on
doesn't-
video games and playing video games that are rated M and are the violent video games that are brought up during, you know, media frenzies and trials for, you know, the reason why these kids are becoming violent and committing crime.
well, and that's just it. Every single study that I've dug into, like legitimate, proper studies, they had control groups, they had the typical proper research set up for these studies, has shown significant decreases in violent tendencies. In fact, Penn and Teller even dig into it on their what's the name of the TV show?
Yeah,
Bullshit.
it was bullshit. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that episode. And I was not impressed, to be perfectly frank with you.
Well,
I mean, there are serious
there's
psychological studies.
actually a lot of studies
There's-
out there that are saying that exposure at a young age to violent videos, violent video games, just violence in general can cause hostile personality issues, lack of empathy, and aggressive behavior in developing brains. And that's why a lot of shows, it's like, okay, hey, this is for mature audiences. They have that on there. You know, this is the reason for it is because there are some kids that their 12-year-old minds don't understand that when their video game character is shooting things and things respawn or they get they steal a car and all this crap in the video game, That's not how it works in the real life. They can't
Yes.
comprehend and make that connection. So whereas you
yeah.
say there's these studies where it's like, oh yeah, no, it's all been no, there's some studies, there's some evidence that says that kids are too immature to be playing these games. What I'm saying is it's not just the video game's fault, it's not just the kids' fault. We're not holding the prior fucking problem to a standard. We're not holding the problem accountable. And the problem is the parenting.
Well, you're gonna have a hard time with that one.
Well,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because you know what, the parents who don't care enough to monitor what the kids are doing,
That's
those are the ones. Those are this little thing called voters.
the thing of it is that's not at all what I'm talking about. People have been complaining that kids have been exposed to something that's corrupting them since the 50s. First
Oh,
it was
yeah.
comics, then it was radio, then it was television.
Yeah.
Now it's
Rock.
video games, and that's what it's going to be on and on. The only
Oh, yeah.
reason that you're getting more violence out of kids now than you did before is because they're exposed to it. And you
It
can't
was
just
even
cut out
before all
video
that.
games, because if you watch television lately or any of the movies that are on,
And that's why I
when you
brought up
expose
video.
when you expose a child to that kind of violence when they're young, it becomes something they can turn to as an answer. When you're in trouble, what you model, what you've seen, you're
Yeah.
going to become violent
And
instead of
even
reasoning.
if you're watching TV, we still reflect. Hi, King. There it is. 3, 1.
eh?
Okay, she's just counting. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. I love this.
Sorry,
You just said that because I said I would read things out loud, didn't you? Huh, Panda? Huh?
Yeah, we're having a little meta moment. No, I actually
It's
very
okay.
much agree.
I
that
like it.
people like to use scapegoats because no, it's not my parenting. I'm not the problem. Hmm.
Another instance where I think parenting is part of the problem is I keep seeing like little kids that are like they go missing, and when I say little kids, I mean like 3 or 4 years old, and then it's okay. The kid's found safe. That is great, and then you find out that this is like the 4th or 5th time that the kid's gone missing. The kid's wandered off, and it's like, how in the hell do you leave your 3-year-old? Okay, hold on. So people, I love this. Nope, there are 4 people and 1 picture. Maybe. And a kitty. Judd, you got me there. And it's gone. I can't forget the kitten. Okay, there we go. I read it out loud. You guys are having
This
way
is
too much
gonna become
fun
a
with that.
joke.
It is.
It's
You
become a
guys are
joke.
gonna make me
It's
sit there and
great.
fucking read all night. Thank you. But yeah,
Well, my comment is there's
but
4
a
people
lot of
here
it
and 1
like,
picture.
We're not
Also the cat.
holding parents accountable, and if we could wrap our heads around that, and we're like, oh no, don't blame them. They're already, traumatized. No, seriously. If more people were held accountable, there might be some actual change.
Well, and the other thing, the problem is I don't think you're going to find anyone here who doesn't agree with that.
Yeah.
The other thing you mentioned is addiction. And
Yeah.
I'm still hung up on this idea that we can become addicted. Literally, I mean, addiction has a very specific clinical term. I'm hung up on this idea that we could become addicted to video games, television, entertainment in general.
It's the same.
And-
It's the same thing about like you get this overfed oxytocin rush, and you can only get it during certain things. There are people that found that they're addicted to Facebook. They're on it for 4 to 7 hours a day, and it's because they can get that rush. They get thousands of comments on their pictures. They get thousands of comments on whatever they've posted, and it gives them the feel good chemicals. The same thing that oxycodone will do to your brain. They're finding that video games, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a lot of people are finding that these are the same. What?
Slot machines, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Slot machines. And those damn claw machines.
Yeah, exactly.
And the worst part is they put the claw machines in restaurants for children.
Yeah. Okay, so is this guy in the Hawaii shirt in space? station?
Yes, I actually am orbiting the Earth. I'm keeping an eye on everyone right now. We're watching weather patterns, traffic patterns, and you really don't want to tell the wife about that junk food you're eating right now.
She didn't
Yeah.
read my message. I totally did. I just did. Do not dare tell me.
So, just a quick technical nerdy moment. That is, I'm using a combination of a green screen and a little
Yes,
thing
I
called
was right.
XSplit VCam. And what's fun is I can change my background anytime I want. So, we will. How about we go?
We're gonna wait
how
until
about
he
we go hang out
glitches
in
and it
orbit?
looks like he's just grinning indefinitely again, like the Joker.
If he glitches out with that weird grin on his face again, it's gonna be glorious.
He's pretending to right now, but it was great.
There we go. I'm now in Data's quarters on the Enterprise D.
Yeah, no, yeah, there is a clinical definition of addiction, but there is also a type of disorder called.
Oh yes, I love the Hawaii man shirt, by the way.
Oh crap! What's it called? I don't know. I'd have to ask my
Panda.
brother. That's his specialization is psychiatry, and he has dealt with a lot of different types of addiction because that's his specialization. He hasn't had to deal with
That
a
is pretty
gamer
cool.
addiction yet,
'Cause there was
but
no such-
I've been meaning to ask him about that because companies are hiring people to make their games more addictive, to make their websites more addictive. That freaking what is it? Dopamine
The
cycle that
dopamine rush.
keeps
Yeah.
people coming back. It's one of the reasons why I really hate loot box gaming because it's the exact same mechanism that slot machines work on.
It's the don't they call it a Skinner box, Jim? Because
No.
because of the pigeon experiment. Was it
Skinner
Skinner
box.
that did the pigeon experiment?
Skinner box is more like what a slot machine does.
Right, which is the same thing as the loot boxes in.
And
I know
Yeah.
who was talking.
if they were
It's the
if they were
picture.
doing, Jesus Christ, I don't know, Tom.
Yeah, I mean that. I think we're all familiar with that experiment where you basically took the psychologist did. He took 3 sets of animals and put them in different situations. And in one situation, the animal would push a button and food would come out of a slot. Every time he pushed the button, he'd get one item of food. And then the second one, he'd push a button a random number of times, and he would get food after a random number of what button pushes. And in the third situation, they pushed the button and nothing happened. And as you might expect, the one where they got the most pushes of the button is the one where you didn't get food every time. You know, one time he pushes it 3 times, he gets food. Then he pushes it 5 times, he gets food. Well, surprisingly enough, he'll push it until he gets food. And that's how we have that same as humans. We have that same reflex. We want a prize. We're willing to pay and pay and pay until we get the prize. And what my kid never understood, when she was little, is that she'd put $20 into one of those claw machines to get a prize that you can buy for $5 at Toys R Us. Yeah, and that's the downside to the Skinner box is you're often spending a lot more
Okay.
money than you would have.
I'm
just
gonna
to buy
read this
the
comment.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Panda was wondering about who's talking. We informed Panda that it's the one with the green ring around it, and then Panda goes, Hawaii shit, man. Looks like it's my previous high school teacher. Okay, that is kind. Good. And I am going to say that if it's funny, I'm probably going to say it just the way you typed it. Just say. And that was perfect.
And okay, not to get macabre for a minute. This is the shirt I wore to my dad's funeral.
You wore a Hawaiian shirt to your.
I am not kidding you.
You
When
had,
he
you
passed
had to
away-
know his dad.
Yeah, you had to know my dad. When my dad passed
Sure.
away, my pastor and he were good friends. And someone said, you know, I really think Dan would like it if we all wore Hawaiian shirts to his memorial service. And so I went out and I bought the biggest, brightest, loudest Hawaiian shirt I could find. I'm standing up there talking in a room full of 1,000 people. And I mean, we filled that church, Jim. I mean, we filled that building with people. and everybody loved him. And
Yeah.
and in this shirt.
Yeah, that
So it's
reminds
okay,
me.
dude. I you cannot wear this without having a sense of humor. And if you knew my
Panda
dad, you
says
know that
sorry.
if you know that if anything, my dad had a sense of humor. He was a smart ass, and he loved being a smart ass, and he taught me to do it and do it well. So
You have some big shoes to fill. Got it. Or big Hawaiian shirts to fill.
The funny part is, when I was in Hawaii, I never saw Hawaiian shirts like that.
yeah, I think they're calling them floral print shirts now because people in Hawaii don't actually wear shirts like this.
Yeah. I've never been on an island. There we go. There's just part of me that's I'm allergic to way too much, and I could just imagine going to Hawaii. The big fucking flowers, all that shit. And I would just blow up like a fucking balloon.
I mean, I didn't have allergies when I went there, and I still had issues.
Yeah.
My buddy flies to a tropical island and gets stung by a bee the size of her head. They have to bring
I'm
her home.
allergic to the small bees,
They have to
okay?
bring her home in that that big giant cargo carrier that they used to carry rockets in.
Tom, I shall remember this. Just remember that. I will
There
remember
will be
this
a
one.
reckoning.
There's video evidence of this one. There we go. I
his
never traveled. I feel you. I don't travel too much myself.
behavior reminds me of a quote from a book that Tom and Brad, as well as myself, used to like reading. Are you always a smartass? No, sometimes I'm asleep.
I'm asleep.
Oh yeah.
Brad
Took
got
a
it.
second to register.
Jim's looking around. Tom looks bored.
Now, the Dresden Files, of which there hasn't been.
Oh
a
yeah,
book
yeah,
in
yeah,
like 4
yeah.
years.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, it goes from
ding!
nothing for like 6 years to 2 books in a single year.
Which still aren't
What's the
out
story
yet.
on that? He was trying to outweigh his wife because she
yeah,
gets part of the
but-
royalties in the divorce settlement.
Well, but he wrote what 14 of them, and just he was putting them out it seemed like every 6 or 7 months he was putting them out. He probably got burned
He was
out.
putting out a book. He was putting out 2 books a year. One was Dresden Files, and one was usually something else.
And there was no Dresden Files that I didn't like.
I you know what? I liked them, but I went back and tried to reread them, and I'm finding them slow reading.
I
kinda
found
give
them
up.
to be much more
I'm
entertaining.
supposed to be
The ones that-
sleeping right now, but this podcast is interesting. Oh, you guys were interesting. Yay.
I found it to be
You hear
much
that?
more interesting instead of reading those books by the Dresden Files is to find the audio tapes that James Marsters read.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That's how I did it. That's how I'm doing it right now. I've read all the books so many times.
Yeah.
And right now I'm constantly doing work in my house, so it's like, hey, I've got the audiobooks for all these. They were like
they're-
an extra couple of bucks when I bought the ebooks of them on Amazon. I was like, all right, James
Yeah, and they're-
Marsters, hell yeah. I'm
He's
listening
really-
to them all, and it's
I'm-
great.
He's really good at it. It's very entertaining.
And
really
there goes
worried
Judd.
Well, you
Yeah,
had to think about drinking, and now he wants to go get a Coke.
I actually had the audiobook, the one that James Marster had a scheduling conflict and couldn't do. And then Amazon's like, oh, we're going to re-record it with James Marsden after all the fans complained.
Oh,
And
you're
if
kidding me.
you, yeah, no, there was one book that you can go look it up. It's actually, there's an entry on the Wikipedia. This is how much fan revolt there was. And he went back and re-recorded it. And when people asked him about it, he's like, it was a scheduling conflict. I love the Dresden series. I love doing the audiobooks.
Well,
but
yeah,
at the time I
well-
couldn't do it.
yeah, he used to talk about it at the cons. He enjoyed doing them, and I actually, you have to take what the stars that are there at the cons say with a grain of salt because they're being paid to be there. But he
Yeah,
seemed genuine when I heard him talking about it, that he really did enjoy it.
Yeah, and they brought him back. They re-recorded that one. I feel kind of sad for the guy that did the previous recording. It kind of sucks that his has been supplanted, but I mean, He did get paid. At least. At least he got paid for it. He
Sure.
is making money off of it, so he's not completely screwed. It just he caught a ton of hate for it, and it's not his fault.
No. You know how us fans are, man. We're rabid. We play video games and watch TV. We can get violent. Better be careful.
Hey, Jim.
Awesome.
Oh, that's the MP3 CD, isn't it?
Yep.
Check you out. You went and actually purchased them.
Yeah, I would have done the whole thing, but they stopped it at book 4.
Yeah, that's when Audible took over.
Yeah, because now you just download them.
Well, that and it was really annoying for a while. It's like MP3 CD, you can play it in your car. It's like, yeah, but 90% of the cars out there didn't support it.
Yeah, but mine did, and they were glorious.
That's one of the few things I love about having like my iPhone plug into my car is I can listen to Audible. Oh, it makes long drives so much easier.
This was back before all that. For whatever reason, the stereo
Not
had
the,
would play MP3s, and dude,
Right.
it was glorious because I could put in like 6 hours worth of music on one CD, and it didn't matter how far I was driving. I never heard the same thing twice. It was great.
not to pull out, and I was doing it before they were a cool moment, but
Oh God.
I remember I took a trip to I had to take a trip to visit my grandparents, and it was a 6-hour drive from my house to where they lived. And Jim actually sent me a bunch of MP3 files of what was it, the Da Vinci Code, I think it was. And yeah, I was listening to that. You know what? It was
Oh yeah.
really,
I
really
remember.
nice. And that was back in like 2000, 2001. or
Oh, I
something
used
like
to have
that.
an enormous set of books on tapes collection.
Yeah. That was glorious, and that was, I mean, really, MP3 players weren't a thing. I mean, they were out there, but they weren't popular yet. And that was being able to listen to it in the car was what sold me. And it's like that at that point, I bought myself a really nice, creative hard drive based MP3 player, and was using that going to work and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were cool.
I still have books on tape somewhere. And I remember being so happy when they released, what was the one I used to always listen to on long drives? 2001, the audiobook. I used to
yeah.
listen to that on tape. I wore the damn tapes down. And then I was stopped at, was on my way up to Napa to see my brother. And my family, we always stopped at this one restaurant, Anderson's, the split pea place.
Ha.
Oh yeah.
I don't even like split pea, but I'd done it for like a decade at that point, and it was just ingrained. So I stopped there, and I always flipped through the, audiobooks that they have there, and I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey on CD, and I was just like, yes, because my car didn't have a tape deck anymore.
And for years, I couldn't figure out why the movie and the book were so different in their. I mean, everything from a different planet to major plot points were different. And I found out that Arthur C. Clarke, which was interesting, that Arthur C. Clarke wrote that book while they were producing the movie. This
Yeah,
is one. I think that's the only time I've ever heard of this happening. Is
It
he
was-
literally produced? It wasn't a novelization of the movie. He literally
No.
wrote the novel as he was also
Correct.
consulting with the scriptwriters in the movie.
Yeah, the movie
And,
was based on a short story called The Sentinel.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I'm
one of
sorry,
those.
did I steal your thunder?
No, I didn't. I had forgotten about the Sentinel, but I just
Oh,
what still bugs me to this day is that in the second book, 2010, when he goes back and recounts events from the first story, he recounts events as they happened in the movie and not as they happened in the book, and that was the part that always weirded me out. And it turns out that's because he really wrote the book for the movie, and while it wasn't a novelization like you see a lot of happening now, it was, I guess the
Yeah,
movie
where
is
the
canon,
novel's
even
kind of-
in the follow, even in the subsequent books, movie and not the book is canon.
I'm
It's one of
gonna
those.
try
Go
to
ahead,
get a word in edgewise. Okay. Hi. Okay, so we actually had Panda asking, so who is who? So if you guys could take a minute or two to go ahead and give a little intro.
Why would I
And
do that?
okay, not Jim. If just ignore Jim. That's the one with the beard.
So the guy with the epic beard is Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one with the beard. Let's look at these pictures again.
Oh, sorry.
Let's see,
Sorry.
you proud,
Beard.
proud old
He's
man
got a
up there.
beard. He's got a beard, and well, that one's got
Let's-
weird
let's
eyeglasses.
scratch
I
his
don't know
beard.
what the
Hang
hell he's
on.
got going on. I think there's
As-
one person here who doesn't have a beard. Also has something else we don't have.
Well, there's
Bite
three
me.
people here without beards. What a-
I just haven't
Fight
seen in a couple
me.
years.
Quite honestly, I got books older than you.
Well, let's
Speak
see.
for
We've
yourself,
got
Jim. I think at
Beardsley
least-
Adams down in the bottom. Then we got Old Man Rivers with the silver beard.
Hey, I'll have you know, I trimmed this today, and I think it's
Okay.
going long.
Really? You
So
trimmed that?
in
Would
all
you use a
honesty,
weed
we
whacker?
all know that I am the youngest in the chat. And I believe Jim is the oldest.
I'm pretty sure.
It ain't me, that's for sure.
Then I'm the winner because I know I'm older than the other ones.
And
up
he
there.
is probably the
Winner, winner,
grouchiest.
old man
Also
dinner.
in chat, if you're curious about like who's in the Twitch chat and who's in the stream, you'll have Tom Tardis, which is the Hawaiian shirt man. You'll maybe have Judd. I don't know. Mainly we see the top of his head during this, I guess.
Nice bald spot, bro.
Nice bald spot,
And
That's
Jeff.
not bald spot.
You will
It's not a
see
bald spot, it's just a part in his hair.
Brad. So sometimes Jim does help with moderation on my channel, sometimes not. It's hit and miss. I really
It's more like
thought
when he really
White
wants to wield the
T-shirt
hammer.
was the youngest. You really thought
No,
Judd was younger than me?
I've been trying to buy that, Judd. No, you cannot buy it right now. You
Wait,
cannot
what
buy
was
either
that?
one of those right now for any amount of money.
Somewhere else, I also have the Blu-ray.
I miss the Anna music. I miss the old, like, crazy, like, first-gen CGI music videos.
I've got the Blu-ray for Adam Music as well. I saw that at Fry's Electronics. I had to buy it.
I think I bought one thing when my local Fry's closed down. I think it was... oh, what was it? It was some
I gotta
cheap
know.
Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah. I like that movie.
How
I
did
was
you-
not expecting
This
to
is the
like it.
score.
as
How
much as I
did you get that?
What, this?
Yeah.
Got it on Amazon. It's like $8.
I thought that was way out of print.
Well, yeah, but
But
what, I mean,
Okay,
it looks-
so Panda thought that Judd was 21 and that I am about 24, 26. You're pretty close on mine. You are way off on his.
How old do you think I am? 112?
I don't know. How old's Dirt?
double that number and you're close.
Take dirt, add
Fuck
30
up
years.
your heads.
This is about the only time I get to mess with Jim. Otherwise, he's usually beating me over the head with stupidity of my own.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just curious. Ask him. How old do they think I am?
42? I don't know.
Oh,
How old do you
scare
think cranky beard guy here is?
I
65.
am really, yeah, I'm not that old.
I had that about the Knight Rider box set.
Not exactly cranky beard guy. Smart ass beard guy. maybe.
That white
That
beard.
one I do not have.
Smartass, I would totally agree with.
That's
You are
true.
definitely a
Well,
smartass.
There's no doubt. The beard definitely puts years on me.
65. Oh man, Panda, you're evil.
Sorry about that.
No, I
If
can
I-
believe it. 65 is not bad actually. It's the beard. It really does put about 15 years on it.
If I grow my beard out, it is so lightly colored that people think I'm like 40 or 50.
And she's
And-
really not that far off.
And it's just like, I'm not that old. If I shave my beard off, I get carded for buying beer. And it's like, I'm old enough to be your father.
Dude, I get carded for scary movies. I get carded for cold medicine. I get carded for
Scary
everything.
movies. That's great.
Oh my
Okay,
God. I
so
haven't been
brown
carded for a
beard
movie
is
since high
like
school.
40. So that's Tom. That is Hawaiian shirt man.
That's gonna
Or
stick
30s.
for a while.
Or 30s.
Okay, here's the interesting thing. Bunny, why don't you click? Okay, you got me slightly lower. We were watching The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. Whole setup of The Rookie is he's a nearly 50-year-old rookie in the LA Police Department. I am the same age as Nathan Fillion. My daughter looked at me and went, "Dad, you look 10 years younger than me." Just saying. I'm also the same age as Will Wheaton from Star Trek.
Are you really?
Yes, and I'm also the same age as Patrick Stewart, the year that Star Trek premiered, Star Trek: The Next Generation premiered.
Nice.
So you're saying you got like another 9 years and things are gonna get weird?
Okay, my headset's off,
baby.
so I can't hear.
Oh,
him.
you don't know me well enough
I'm
then.
gonna take my
Because
hair down.
things are weird around me already.
Ah, neither does
Well,
that
I only hear
ponytail
bits and
killing me.
pieces of it.
Yeah, I'm the same age as Keanu Reeves. That's the fun one.
There you go.
Yeah, but Keanu
Really?
Reeves looks like he
He's
hasn't
that old?
aged in the last 300
Don't mind the
years.
rat's nest.
I would not,
Hard to get out
I
right
would
now.
not believe that Keanu Reeves is 70 years old.
65, asshole. Keep it up, Fuzzball. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you Chewbacca looking motherfucker.
Somebody
Oh
get
god.
the
Oh
carpet.
god. That reminds me. Complete ADHD rat hole. I had a friend growing up that was Mexican, and one of the common nicknames is Chewy. His older brother was nicknamed Chewy. I
Yeah.
made a
Chewie
Star
is-
Wars
yeah.
joke and had to run from him.
Yeah.
He chased my ass around the house.
On some of the
Sure.
on some of the more famous names, you could probably look them up and be like, really? Tom's the same age as Will Wheaton?
And it's
Shit
freaking
like
me,
that,
It's actually freaking
so.
me out because I've always been used to stars being older than me, and all of a sudden I'm older than
Isn't that weird?
you know. Yeah.
That's, when I knew I got old, I'd listen to the radio and people are talking about the people in the, on the new albums and all that, and they're on television. I'm like, who the hell is that person? I always swore to myself I'd know what the popular music was and I wouldn't get old. And well, I'm old because I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, for example, Charlize Theron, however she pronounces it, she was on the Orville recently, and
Huh?
while she was a knockout in her
Okay.
20s, she's still an attractive woman.
I was gonna
but
say, dude, she's a knockout now. What are you talking about?
she's still an attractive woman, but she looks like she's in her
Oh,
mid to late 40s.
Stop.
Well, she does. She did in that show.
Hi.
And I'm just looking at it going, she's still younger than me, and yet
She's
Well, there are
what,
some people that
44?
according to the internet, she's 44, right? She was born in
there are
75.
some people that are just
You guys are
age
absolutely insane.
really makes
Whatever.
age.
Oh
does
my
not
God,
I'm a
go well on
younger
them.
to you
She's older
guys.
than 30.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what am I gonna do?
No, I don't have
Yeah.
a problem with women over 30. There was what was it I was watching recently where the actress was older than me, and I still thought she was just drop dead gorgeous, but
Lucy Liu?
no. Although I will give you that one.
Someone who actually aged pretty well, Fran Drescher.
Who?
Really?
Mr. Sheffield, come on. Mr.
Who?
Sheffield. You don't
Fran
know
Drescher.
She had her own
You
TV
talk
show.
like that.
Oh, Helium Head. No, I could not stand that voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Ugh.
She
Her-
was
that was her
in
claim to fame.
UHF.
Ah. Dude, I
That
haven't
was so
watched
great.
UHF in like 20 years.
You haven't hit your 20s. Well, you've got quite a bit ahead of you, definitely.
Congratulations. This is your future.
Yeah, really. Get used to it.
Yeah.
In 30
So,
years,
yeah,
it'll be us.
take a good look, because you're going to be one of these.
Yep.
As long as you still have your sense of humor at that age, you're doing well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously, and life becomes, well, slightly less boring.
Yeah, definitely not so serious.
But yeah.
Hey, Beta. Oh yeah, sneaking in quietly.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Beta.
Beta. Hey, what you doing, Beta?
You can't sneak in the door. It's alarmed. We know you're there.
Hey, everyone. Okay, everyone say hi to Beta. Hey, Beta.
Hey, Beta.
Hello.
I
Yeah.
ain't saying hi to anybody.
Dude, you haven't said much all show.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
so-
Doing more show and tell.
Why is it
Humbug
You're
and
the-
Eeyore.
That's usually how I roll.
how I
Scrooge and Eeyore. I mean, not much. Just checking
Eeyore?
you guys
Meh.
out. Yeah.
Meh.
So I want a hello from him the most now. Yeah.
Oh, Oh, you've been put on the spot. You've been called. You have been summoned.
Who?
Okay, well,
Chuck.
Night Panda, actually, Panda, you were actually joining while we were about almost 2 hours into this.
Oof, has it been that long?
Yep.
Holy
Yeah.
crap, it has.
So we've actually gone over all the topics we had
Oh,
planned,
no.
and
No.
what?
Nothing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got to get back to my my friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta get it. What
So
are you gonna do? You're not gonna
that
do
is
the game?
actually going to be us
Um,
wrapping things up.
I will,
Oops,
yeah.
haha, son of a bitch. Bitch probably actually gets through, by the way. What time or days? So the podcast is on air every other Friday around 10 to 11 o'clock Central Time, which is my time, but they're all in California.
I am not in California. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pacific time.
Sorry. There's, yeah.
West
whatever.
Coast.
We're on the West Coast.
You're basically in California.
I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
West side.
He's California adjacent.
Yeah, I'm California adjacent. What was I gonna say? Oh, now I remember. See, that's what happens when you get old too.
It didn't.
We should talk about having the show earlier.
Usually it tells me if someone puts it. Beta, by the way.
Ask your
Yay.
crowd out there. What do they think about us starting this earlier?
I'm all for
The
it.
thing is that doesn't really work because you guys keep telling me that you work till about 8 p.m. your time.
I work until 3 p.m. my time.
We were
Yeah,
waiting
but
Honestly,
primarily
I
on
would-
you, Jim.
work and food and everything else, and I'm able to sit down at the computer. It's pretty much 8 o'clock every night.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we didn't actually do this sooner is because not everyone could be here earlier.
Well,
Because
and
trust
if we,
me, I would love to, do 2 hours of this and be
and to be
chipper and
fair,
awake at 2.
and to be fair, and I'm not pointing at anything, but it seems like every week we spend 2 hours dicking around with sound, cameras, and internet connections and everything else too. So
I
once
know
we
you're
get
not
that nailed
talking
down a little bit, that'll go a lot quicker.
Panda's in California.
You're in the best state. Just saying.
second best.
Well,
Mhm.
best
I'm not
state except for
touching
certain
that date.
laws.
Okay, so before this turns into a bigger dick contest, I'm gonna go ahead and call that the end of the stream. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, what's gonna be funner? We're going to go ahead and raid someone. So who
You're gonna
am I
raid
subscribed?
someone?
I'm gonna raid someone.
Oh, hey, are we
So-
gonna do, so are we gonna do next time in a virtual world and like all of us have our virtual avatars instead of our regular faces?
No.
I'm not that much of a nerd.
Okay, let's see if I can't raid someone.
So you're doing that. I'm gonna get a VR avatar then. and Just
Say,
be
see
that
if,
on stream.
see if who's that?
Great
Who's that
idea.
guy in Twitch who we were talking about earlier?
Kato?
Kato. See if Kato's on. Rate him.
Super Kato
Oh,
1K.
I was gonna raid one of my friends, but
You have friends?
oh yeah, I've got friends.
Wow. I'm
You
a
got
second.
friends? You must be
Okay.
special.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
That's not it.
Well,
Okay, we are raiding. We're gonna raid with 3 viewers, and I love how some people.
All
leave
3 of
when that
us.
happens. Yeah.
Stand
Okay.
back.
3, 2, 1. We're raiding.
Fly, my lovelies, fly.
What is this?
We didn't actually. Okay, that was interesting because we didn't actually hear the 321 we're rating because as soon as you that part hadn't spooled out the stream yet.
Did you end the stream
Oh.
already?
Nope, we're still in stream. I'm raiding. Party of 7.
bum, bum,
Ah,
bum.
yeah.
They get us too.
What is a raid? This
It's
Yeah, you just-
basically introducing my viewers to another streamer, and we're gonna basically just flood his channel with a bunch of text. So my chat turns into his chat. So have fun with all the emojis that you want. Be polite,
Basically, have fun with it.
Yeah, basically, it's just a fun little quirky thing to do at the end of a live stream.
I know that game.
I know, right?
Damn, man. We're all the ones that smoke. What's up with you?
Hot sauce down wrong pipe.
Awesome.
Oh, lungs burning with Tabasco. Oh God. Oh God, that burns.
Go ahead. You know you want to say it, Tom. Say it.
Because you love it so much.
Fire in the hole, baby. Come on. Fire in the hole.
God damn it! Don't make me laugh. It's worse.
I guess it
I
would be
kind of
more
don't
fun.
want to end the live
Fire in the
stream
wrong
by
hole.
suffering. It's
Oh
great.
God. Oh God.
Hey, I bet it works better than hydroxychloroquine. Yep, he left.
Oh,
No,
it burns.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and end my stream.
Yep, I'm gonna bounce out as well.
No,
Sorry,
you guys have fun.
Yeah, I